Nintendo claims their newest console will be unscalpable, but these scalpers are slick. I know.
I used to be one.
Non Apologetic
Nonsense.
Nintendo has came out with a report saying the Switch 2 will be the first unscalpable console. They claim they're going to be able to achieve this not by requiring accounts or one per household or anything like that, but they say they will just simply meet demand. We're about to have another chip shortage, right? The tariffs are going to make sure of that. So not only do I think Nintendo will not be able to achieve that, I also think they're going to wind up charging more than their planned price, which we've seen is anywhere between $350 and $450. Besides, we all know Nintendo likes to milk their fans out of every single dollar they can get. As far as scalping goes, like I say, these scalpers are slick. There will be a demand for scalping, and even if Nintendo does halfway achieve their goal, so many scalpers are going to buy these things up that it will create a shortage even if there isn't one. There's only one real way to end scalping: quit paying scalper prices. Like I said, I have a lot of experience with this. See, I run a online retail store, right? So logistics, moving things around, buying, selling, importing, that's just what I do. And I can tell you firsthand how easy this is. Let's go all the way back to the PS5 launch, right? I remember when it launched, no one could get it, right? And then all of a sudden I see on eBay, people are paying, upwards of $1,000 for this console that'll cost you about $540 landed with shipping if you're paying retail. So about a month into the launch, I thought, I know I'll be able to get my hands on these. I know it can't be as difficult as people say so. So my thought was, if I can get my hands on two, I can sell one of them at that inflated price, and then that pays for my PlayStation, right? So essentially, I don't make anything, but I pretty much break even, but I get not only do I get a PS5 close to launch, but I get it for free. That's exactly what I did. I went the normal route where if people don't know, there's Twitter accounts that will alert you, like the second something goes in stock. So I started watching the patterns of the stores. Okay, Target's going in stock at $650 last time, and that was on Tuesday. Well, this next Tuesday, they're doing that exact same thing again. So after I was able to achieve those two PS5s, my buddy's like, can you get me one? I was like, I'll give it a shot, right? So I put the alerts on my phone. I made sure I was logged into the marketplaces, your Walmart, your GameStop, which, by the way, GameStop's website is an absolute nightmare. Especially when this happens. Let's say Target goes in stock right now. Target's website is going to get flooded with so much traffic that even if you're there right at that exact second, you might have to check out 30 times. It really is persistence. It's who's going to still stand there and wade through the digital queues at Best Buy, for example. So I realized just through putting in the work of that, I was able to get 3 to 5 a week. Now, at this point, I had nothing. And by nothing, I mean, I was a poor boy. I had nothing. And I was like, you know what? We need capital to get this online business really running and be able to ramp up, be able to scale, build a new building, storage, just everything involved. I wanted to create a shipping room. I thought, let's give this a try. And I know people are going to say, oh, well, you're just a dirty scalper, right? But I mean, come on, at the end of the day, we're talking about a video game here, or video game console rather. And you guys would have all done the exact same thing. I was able, through the PS5 launch, I was able to essentially ride the wave of reselling. Now, like I say, I did have a bit of an insider track, but I was able to ride the wave through reselling for a full year and completely finance my business. I mean, it absolutely changed my life. I didn't just make a little money and then blow it or this and that. I made a little money and I invested it. I made a little more and I put it back. Next thing I know, I thought, I wonder if any of my distributors can actually get this console. So I made a bunch of phone calls. Eventually, I found a distributor who would give me PlayStations, but not at distributor prices. They were doing their own form of scalping, right? So I was essentially paying retail, but getting almost as many as I could handle, right? So there was a several month period that I couldn't even have people over because I was afraid of getting robbed or word getting out because I just had PS5 boxes. I mean, I was making forts out of these things. It was bananas. And a lot of it was just sold through your eBays, Amazons, whatever. But even months down into it, whenever you list one, it sold. You know what I mean? It was super quick. And on that note, whenever any sort of scalping or anything happens, all the news outlets, the headlines will read, PS5's going on eBay for $2,000. But you can ask whatever you want, right? I can sell this microphone. I can list it today for $100,000. I'm not going to get it. Always check your sold listings if you want to know how much something's going for. The average price the PlayStation went for during this was probably about $825. Let's do a little math. Let's say $825 is what you're selling it for, right? Let's put that down, $825. Now you have money in that, right? So you're going to have $540. $540, that's going to be your cost landed. So what it costs to actually get it to your house. So if you have $540 in it, you sell it for $825, that's going to leave you about $285. But you got to ship that item, right? That's going to cost you, in the case of a PS5, about $40, okay? So that takes our profit down to about $245, but we're not done yet. In this case, eBay's taking, Amazon, whoever, they're taking their highest percentage they can. They're turning a blind eye here. So you're going to pay them 15 to 20%. So let's say in this case, let's say 110 is what you're going to owe them. Okay. So then that puts our profit for this, scenario about 135. Let's call it 125 for easy figuring. So even if you're selling something for $300 above what you paid, a lot of that money is just disappearing. So people would think, oh, you're selling it for this, so you're making X, but it just doesn't work like that. I mean, it was good money, but selling one or two of them wasn't going to change anything. And I saw people doing this all over, right? But they couldn't figure out how to do it properly, how to properly ship it, how to do everything quickly, how to be competitive with your prices. Like, here's a mistake I learned. Someone locally was doing this, right? And they would post on Facebook Marketplace, which, by the way, do not do that in your local area because that's going to build resentment. It's going to build hatred. And people are going to know you're the person with them, right? So that's just dumb. But there's also taxes, right? So even if you're doing it on Facebook Marketplace, like you're going to hit a certain threshold and they're going to 1099 you. Now, in the case of eBay, this was during a period where you were supposed to have, it was like 20,000 sales on eBay before they reported you to the IRS for taxes. And then during that year, the law winded up changing to where even hobbyists, like if you sold over $600 of stuff, and that's not profit you make, that's, sell price. If you sold over $600, they reported you and they made that law retroactive to go back to the beginning of the year. So if it makes any of y'all happy to hear, during this scalping year for me, when I did my taxes, I had a $22,000 tax debt, one I was not planning for. So there is a lot that goes into this, and there's so many people who have figured it out better than I. So for Nintendo to ambitiously think that they're going to be able to stop their console from getting scalped, it just is not going to happen. Like I say, even if there isn't a real demand, the scalpers will create that demand. The only way to stop it is to stop paying inflated prices. Like I say, at the end of the game, it's a video game, right? And I know I got lied to with a lot of sob stories, right? Like I can remember around Christmas, someone said they couldn't afford that and their child needed it. So I winded up giving it to them at cost. Another one was I was also doing the, what was Xbox offering? The Xbox Series X, whatever it was. And I can remember there was a Canadian teacher who said she wanted it for her classroom. So, of course, I had her information. So I looked her up, and it turns out this was actually true. She did work with some sort of youth center thing. So I winded up sending her one for free. Hell, we gave away a free one on the show here. And that was how we did it. Was just because I could sell a couple PS5s and then, the cost of other PS5s were completely covered, so it wasn't even really so much out of pocket. But if you want to stop it, just stop paying the inflated price. Like, it's a game console. I couldn't imagine paying over retail. I mean, even retail, my game has always been like when a new console launches, like I said, I've always been a broke boy before this, but when a new console launches, I wait about a year and then I sell my old console with, whatever games I have to pay, 80% of that new console. And even that new console I'm buying, I'm going to buy a good condition used one, right? From a reputable source. That's really the only way to stop it is just quit paying for it. Because if there's an opportunity to make money, this is America. We're going to figure it out and we're going to do it. And then you're going to get guys like me whose business is to buy and sell online. And, I just came in and fucked the game up with it. But like I say, I was able to take that money. I mean, that money literally changed my life. I've said it a bunch on this show. I was able to invest in a business. I was able to help a lot of people around me. And it really did change my life. And that's another thing. If you are going to do this, help those around you. Like I supplied PS5s for people's kids, and not just that, the money. Somebody has an emergency around you. Like I'm the type person, you keep your come up a secret till you're done with it, right? You don't want anyone meddling or stopping anything. So even if you can't say where it's coming from, you can always help those around you. And I mean, in short, just don't be a selfish scumbag. I've always believed in if you are able to gain something, spread it around a little bit. It's not going to hurt anyone. But yeah, if you do want to do this, or even if you're just trying to get one for yourself, find the Twitter accounts who are going to alert you when the drops happen. Already be logged in to the retailers. I would say stay away from GameStop. Walmart sucks. But be logged into your retailers. Already have your payment information saved. Like a good way to do it is Target, honestly, because when Target does drops, it's just whatever your local Target has, right? So if they do a national PS5 drop or Switch, right? So a national Switch 2 drop, even though they're dropping nationally at the exact same time, you're only going to be competing with people in your area for your particular store. So you're going to have a lot better luck getting it that way. But I would say there will be a solid 3 to 6 months of scalping on this thing. And that's what does get scary. If you are doing this, you got to know when to bail out. I can remember, the scalping went on for almost 2 years with the PS5, but I bailed out super early on it because I was looking at these towers of boxes in my house and I'm like, I was putting all these on my credit card, right? And I actually multiple credit cards with the amount I was buying. And it's like, if people bail out right now, I'm screwed because it's not even if I go to the store and online store and I sell them for retail, I paid retail. So I'm going to wind up losing, my eBay fees and my shipping on this. And since it's eBay, if something's readily available, you're probably not even going to get retail price for it. So you could easily lose, $100-$120 if it, like in the PS5, for example, on each console. And I know people be like, well, that's just part of it, serves you right, But like I say, it really did change my life. And if anybody wants any tips or tricks to get this console, if you have a kid, if you really want it, just hit me up. I mean, I'll give you an exact playbook as long as you're willing to put in the work. That will guarantee to get you one. And that's how I always see it. during the PS5, you're paying me a premium to put in all the footwork that you don't want to do because everyone was capable of getting one if you put in enough footwork. You don't want to put in that footwork? Well, allow me to do it and then pay me for my time. Maybe that's just me justifying it, but yeah. And then, of course, you see a lot of people who are getting robbed, right? You don't want to do the in-person sales. You don't want you want to just be a phantom online, just popping in and out, you know? It's a hell of a thing. Supply and demand. It is the American way. Well, I guess there's nothing more to say except when this new Switch drops, let the games begin. Right?